Everyone ready for another deep dive?
Always ready.
Awesome. So today we're tackling something that I think a lot of us have probably experienced. It's sneaky, it's pervasive, and honestly, it can make or break a project. We're talking about scope creep.
Oh, yeah. Scope creep, the silent project killer.
Exactly. And we're going beyond just the usual project management tips. We're getting into the ethics of scope creep, how to push back effectively, protect your team, and ultimately make sure the project doesn't go completely off the rails. Our guide for this deep dive is a fantastic article by 𝗬𝗏 called The Invisible Impact of Scope Creep on Quality. Have you had a chance to check it out yet?
I have, yeah. And what really struck me was how 𝗏 frames this whole thing as an ethical issue. Not just, a project management headache, but something that can actually have some serious consequences.
Absolutely. It's so easy to get caught up in those one more thing requests,
Yeah.
especially when you're dealing with, clients who are excited about their project. But 𝗏 uses some pretty powerful examples to show just how bad things can get.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't hold back.
Like, remember Cyberpunk 2077? That was a huge example of scope creep gone wrong.
Huge and very public. I mean, they kept adding all these features, multiple storylines, a crazy crafting system, even that whole brain dance mechanic.
Right. And it was clear that the development team was just completely overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah, they were stretched way too thin. I mean, think about it. The game was delayed multiple times, and even when it finally launched,
It was a buggy mess.
a buggy mess. And not only that, but the company's reputation took a massive hit. It's interesting, though, because it wasn't just about adding features. It was the types of features they were adding. Overly ambitious, super complex, and ultimately just unsustainable with their resources and the timeline they had.
Totally. So, okay, we know scope creep can be bad, but how do we actually push back effectively? Because I'll be honest, saying no to a client can feel really intimidating. But 𝗏 has some really interesting strategies in his article. Like, he talks about the power of underpromising and over-delivering.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's all about setting realistic expectations right from the start. And, I would add that while underpromising can be a really good strategy, you have to find that balance.
Right.
Because underpromising too much can also backfire and make you seem, well, incompetent.
Totally agree. You don't want to be pessimistic, just realistic.
Mm-hmm.
𝗏 also talks about using data to back up your decisions. So instead of just saying, no, we can't do that, you can actually show them, like present evidence of how this extra feature is going to impact the timeline or the budget.
Exactly. Having that data-driven approach, it just makes your argument so much stronger. It's way more persuasive. And you're not just saying no, you're providing alternative solutions. Maybe the new feature can be added in a later phase, or maybe there are other trade-offs that can be made. And I think it's crucial to involve stakeholders in these discussions as well. When everyone understands the implications, it's much easier to make those tough decisions together.
Yeah, it's all about transparency, which actually leads us to another one of 𝗏's points, formal change management.
Yes. So important. For anyone who's not familiar with that term, it basically means having a really clear process in place for how you handle changes. Think about things like version control systems, detailed change request forms, a system for evaluating the impact of each change, that kind of stuff.
Right. So you're not just relying on a bunch of emails or, casual conversations, which can quickly become a total nightmare to try and keep track of. It's about having a system in place from the start. 𝗏 also talks about, and I think this is really interesting, he talks about reframing saying no as a commitment to quality.
Ooh, yeah. That's a powerful shift in perspective.
It is.
Because then it's not about being difficult or uncooperative. It's about making sure that the final product meets the highest standards and that it does what it's supposed to do.
Exactly. And 𝗏 even says it can strengthen your relationships in the long run. Because clients see that you're genuinely invested in their success, not just taking on every single request that comes your way.
Exactly. Shows integrity, builds trust. It's a win-win.
Totally. So to kind of sum up 𝗏's actionable insights, prioritize your team's well-being, be transparent with all your stakeholders, and for goodness sake, stick to a formal change management system. These are things that we can all do, regardless of the project.
Absolutely. And I think the key takeaway here is that pushing back against scope creep, it's not just about managing a project. It's about ethical leadership. It's about protecting your team, delivering high-quality work, and building strong relationships that are based on trust and mutual respect.
Could not have said it better myself.
Yeah.
So as you're navigating your own projects, think about how you can actually implement these strategies. Have you faced situations where you've had to push back against scope creep? What worked for you? We'd love to hear your experiences. Until next time.
See you then.